What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining for today's recap session. Let's jump on the screen share and have a look at today's trades. So today is a very small trade day. I only took one trade today. But before I dive into that trade, let's just have a look at a few stocks that were popping up today, just to see whether it was something that you guys were watching too. MGRX was one that was popping up this morning. Did I do any further analysis on this? No. I did have news this morning at around 8 and 7, but you can see sort of did this initial pop and then massive topping tail candle there, sort of sold off sideways and then gave us this move. I didn't trade it. I think you'd have to be watching it closely. I just didn't feel comfortable taking a trade on it. And I think if you look at the price action now, it's quite slowed down anyway, but it had quite a lot of volume come in since this morning. Of course, during that period that I just showed you, it had a couple of million shares of volume go through it, but I didn't touch it. And actually at the time, because I've just made a note on it, I just realized it was thickly traded. So that meant there was a lot of buyers and sellers on both sides, so I didn't feel like that it was going to give us the move that would really I would be able to justify a risk on. Although it does mean that you've got more options to get out on the bid if something doesn't go your plan, but it just means that the moves are not as exaggerated as we normally anticipate. SGBX was the other one that was popping up this morning. This didn't have any news as far as I can remember, but I mean, this is the open. As you can see, this is the pre-market session, so it just kept coming up and down, up and down. Obviously sold off here all the way sideways below VWAP, and then it gave us this amazing move. What time was that? That was at just before 7. And then peaked at 358. Didn't feel comfortable taking trades on it again. So no news, no catalyst, so I couldn't trade it. All right, so what did pop up? THAR. So that had news. That looked hopeful, and I took one trade on this. Actually, I'll bring it up on the 10-second chart. I took one trade, captured around 10 cents on it, more or less. The area that I traded was here. I was watching it on the level 2, and I was watching it obviously on the 10-second chart. This is the 10-second chart that we're looking at, by the way. And so I saw this pullback, and I was like, okay, so it's holding that level. Volume was looking good. We had green come on the tape, so I did punch it, and I actually held my nerves a bit more. You know, we're dealing with small share sizes here, but still, you know, you want to capture a good move, and you don't want to hold something that it's not going to move too long. So I gave this a bit longer than I normally give for something to work. So I suppose it was good in this moment. It gave us a pop. I managed to sell for like 10 cents gain, but you know, it's sad that it just couldn't go any higher. I could have sold a bit higher, but I was watching it to see whether it would surge back up and go through the highs, which was around just under $4. But I could see more selling happening on level 2, so I decided to bail, and I was only able to capture 10 cents on that move. So that was my only trade for this morning, just one trade. So a bit different to yesterday. It is what it is. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. This is what the market is like. So there's definitely volume there. You know, there's action. There's people definitely making money. And that THAR trade was an okay trade. I wouldn't say it was the best trade ever. Of course, you want to see continuation, but you can't control, you know, these things. One last point before I in this video is I was thinking a bit more about the last couple of days of trading on QNRX and GLTO, I believe it was from the other day. And I was like, well, this has happened a few times now where even though I've been trying to sell on the ask, or I was trying to bail out, I wasn't able to, and I kept getting caught in these $2-3 drops, which even with 5 shares, it can be quite big swing in your P&L when you're dealing with 5, 10, 20 share size trades. And one of you commented about how you take 1/8 of the position normally, and I totally agree. I think that the smaller your risk is when trading stocks above 10 with big spreads, the better they are. Now, I want to take that a step further and just avoid trading these stocks at all for now, because the last couple of days I've had these losers and it's just been unnecessary. I'm focusing on my stats, my profit to loss ratio, and although when the stock gets above 10, it can give you a nice move up, but more often than not, you could get caught on the wrong side of the trade and catch a $2-3 drop flush without the ability to actually sell on the ask. And if you've been watching some of Ross's recaps, those are the areas that he's been losing big chunks of money too. So I think for me personally, I'm going to avoid these trades for now, unless I can really see momentum and the bids, the spreads are quite tight. But for now, I'm going to try to stick to anything between $1 and $10 range. And if it gets above 10, then I'll be a bit more cautious with it. Anyway, just thought I mention that. But stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.